Hello and welcome to QuickIP. Today we are going to be talking about the main rights granted by copyright, and those are moral and economic rights. As usual, we will stay within the 10 minutes or less mark as we deal with this aspect. We'll start with our usual map, and here we're still at step 1, talking about subsistence of copyright. We've dealt with work, that there has to be a work, and the work has to be original and fixed in a material form, and that it has to be authored by a qualified person. So now, what rights does copyright grant in those in the instance where it exists? So those rights are held in exclusivity, and those rights are referred to broadly categorized as economic rights and moral rights. So we'll just dive straight into it. One of the economic rights, and one thing about economic rights is that economic rights deal with what we refer to as rights that are attached to the economics, the money, the revenue. So you exploit those rights mostly directly. You leverage on your exclusivity and exploit those rights to generate revenue. So one of the key and most popular economic right is the right of reproduction. And one basic way to understand the right of reproduction is the fact that it's, people reproducing after their kind. So a human being will give birth to a human being, a goat will give birth to a goat. So if you're reproducing a work, you're just producing that work, in the same kind that it was. So if as a baby would have features of its parents or its ancestors, the same way a reproduced work will have the same or similar features of the work that is being reproduced. And one example is when you scan a work or when you photocopy a literary work, a book, an article, you would be reproducing that work. And it's only the copyright owner that has the exclusive right to do so. Another right that's another activity that amounts to reproduction is download. When you download music, movies, books, articles, copyright protected work generally from the internet, you are reproducing the work. And again, it's the copyright owner that has the exclusive right to do so. You could also be running a computer program on another computer or device. That's reproduction, and that's the exclusive right of the copyright owner. You could also be downloading movie or pictures or songs or music from YouTube. I mean, uploading rather from YouTube to YouTube, to SoundCloud, to whatever platform. When you are uploading, you are also reproducing the work. Another example of reproduction is your usual copy and paste that we engage with when we are working on our computers or on our laptops or on our devices, or even on WhatsApp when you do your copy and paste. Another another economic right is the right of adaptation. What happens with adaptation is that adaptation is considered like the brother or sister or sibling of the right of reproduction. And why is that so? In adaptation, you are borrowing, you're using an existing work, but you're moving it into another format. So there's originality involved when you are creating a work of adaptation. But in reproduction, there's no originality. You're just engaging in copying and just reproducing the work. So let's use examples to explain the right of adaptation. Remember, again, it is held exclusively by the copyright owner. One example is translation. What happens in translation? You translate an existing work from one language to another. So say, for example, there's an article or a book written in English, you want to translate it to French, or written in Zulu, you want to translate it to Sepedi. Anytime you're engaging in translation, it's the right of adaptation that is being engaged. And what is the originality in creating a translation? You can't engage in translation without engaging in some interpretative exercise. And what do I mean by that? If, for example, you want to translate something, say from English to Igbo, let me use Igbo as an example. A red bag in an Igbo translation cannot still read a red bag, because that would not have meaning. It's the meaning in Igbo would be, so a red bag in Igbo would be Aba Obara Obara. So Obara Obara is red and Aba is bag. And so if you translate it literally, you would now have Obara Obara Aba, which doesn't make sense. So you have to engage in, you have to, and then think about, so that's like a literal example of translation, but think about, idioms and proverbs that you can't just say literally without losing the meaning. So all those things engage in making a work of adaptation when it comes to translation as an activity, to have some original elements attached to it. Another form of adaptation that is very popular is adapting a book to a movie. So you have all these movies, all these books, The Hobbit, books by Stephen King, Love, Simon, Hunger Games. These are books, Crazy Rich Asians. These are books that have now been adapted to movies. Another one is musical arrangement. This is a picture, a screenshot of a movie, of a musical arrangement done by a South African gospel artist, Sengliwe Mlaba. And these are, like old Christian hymns that have now been rearranged. So when you're doing musical arrangements, you could be moving from one, music that has been written for one instrument. You could be arranging it for another instrument, make it sound. It will probably sound alike, that you can remember what music is being arranged, but it's now, a different sound, a different feeling, all those sort of things. So these are some of the activities that engage the right of adaptation. Let's talk about right of public performance. So when it comes to public performance, you are performing an existing work publicly. So think about live performance, live shows that artists do. Think about displaying a movie in the cinema. Think about showing a film, like maybe to some select members of the public. Those engage the right of public performance. Those are, like some activities that talk about, that engage the right of public performance. Other economic rights that we have are the right of distribution, the rights of rental, the right to control importation, the right of publication or publishing. Like I've said earlier, remember that depending on the work, economic rights would also attach to the adaptation. So if you've done a movie adapted a movie is an adaptation of a book, for example, then the movie itself will also enjoy all the rights, all the economic rights, the right of reproduction, the right of adaptation, again, the right of distribution, publication, controlling importation, and so on and so forth, just the same way that the book itself will enjoy. So a typical real life example is the Bridgerton series written by Julia Quinn. It enjoys, the book itself, the novel, enjoys copyright protection and all that. The movie itself, the series on Netflix, also enjoys its own copyright protection as a cinematograph film. I think that's for economic rights. Let's talk about moral rights quickly. Moral rights are rights that are in many cases, very much linked to the author himself or herself, or themselves, whoever they are. And so moral rights, mostly we talk about the right of integrity and the right of attribution. The right of integrity deals with your right to object to mutilation of the work, the distortion of your work, the treatment of your work in a derogatory or prejudicial manner. And then the right of attribution is your right to object to insist on your being identified as the author of a given work. So let's look at some examples. This is an artistic work, a graphic painting on a wall, and now there's graffiti all around it. That's in some jurisdictions, depending on the facts of the case, it could be an infringement of moral rights, because in this case, this work has been distorted, has been mutilated in a way that it's even somewhat unrecognizable. And that could be, like a statement against the author of that work. Another one could be mashups. When you create mashup of songs, you could be dealing with the song in the various songs or one song in a manner that the artist or the author or the copyright owner might consider prejudicial. So a quick run through. Copyright grants exclusive rights. We've said that, and those rights are broadly classified between economic rights and moral rights. Economic rights are exploited for revenue, directly or indirectly. Moral rights are personal and focus on the author's personality. So, but they may maybe indirectly linked to revenue. So a quick example is a screenwriter who writes screenplays for movies. You want your name, you want that your attribution aspect of the moral rights. You want your name on the movie credits so that people can see that you write screenplays. You're a screenwriter, and they could call you for more screenwriting jobs or gigs, as the case may be. So that's how moral rights could indirectly link to revenue. Authors and copyright owners would leverage on exclusivity to generate revenue. So we will stop here, and I would see you in class, and bye.